super excited to be on your screens. Oh my God.
I once dated someone who's HIV positive.
This is what we want on the No Podcast.
It's better to have healthy sinner than to have sick saints.
And welcome to the No Podcast, where we talk about youth health and well-being. Hey besties, Salibonani Linjani, and welcome to yet another exciting and thrilling episode of the No Podcast, where we have conversations around youth health and well-being. My beautiful name is Panashe Chibata Moto, also known as the Dynamite, of course, with a capital letter D. And I'm super excited to be on your screens. Oh my God! So joining me today is a beautiful and amazing young lady. I don't like riding solo. I always tell you this. I have beautiful and amazing people, think tanks actually, that help me unpack the topic or the subject matter that we'll be discussing for the day. And today I'm joined by a powerful and beautiful young lady. For those that would want her contact details, please do make sure that you DM me and I'll do the honors. Welcome to the No Podcast.
Thank you so much, Panashe.
How are you?
A bit nervous, but
Why?
I'm okay.
Why are you nervous?
You know, cameras, but I'm okay.
You're camera shy.
Yes,
You good now?
I'm good. Yeah.
All right. So I want you to introduce yourself to the people that are watching. So you tell them your name. And one thing that my people love is to know in Shona, in vernacular, what are you well known for in the streets?
Okay. My name is Panashe.
Okay.
You're my namesake. My name is Panashe Mingwa, and I'm from Chiredzi district, Masvingo province. And what I'm well known for is most people, they call me a baddie, but I'm not a
Okay.
baddie.
So you say I got that right, yeah?
Yeah. So that's basically me. I'm also a youth health advocate, focusing on promoting access to sexual and reproductive health rights through community radio talk shows, raising awareness campaigns, through community dialogues, also having peer-to-peer dialogues and doing advocacy work. I've also worked with a number of organizations which are youth saving, such as My Age Zimbabwe, Zandiri, Young People's Network on Health and Wellbeing. And I've also worked with international organizations such as the UN Women and the International AIDS Society. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Please confirm you're a walking radio. Because when you say it, Panashe Mingwa, I was jogging my memory. And then I found myself on Facebook. And I was like, this name is very familiar in the streets. So how is Chiredzi?
Chiredzi is nice, sweet, and it's hot. Sweet because that's where most of sugarcane plantation is being done in Zimbabwe. So
Guys. Okay, it's fine. So I want to get into the gist of the conversation, the reason why we're here today. And I'm always excited when I have a young person to dialogue with, to talk with, because I believe that anything that affects us as young people, we should be at the forefront of it. We should be the drivers of the change that we want to see. So it's always a plus and a bonus when I have a young person. And guys, to put icing on the cake, it's actually a young lady, a beautiful, brilliant, and amazing young lady, huh? Beauty with brains. So let's get into the gist of the matter. So what led you to get into HIV advocacy?
All right. So what influenced my journey is personal experience. Growing up, I witnessed the impact of HIV on loved ones and family. In 2014, I had my best friend. She passed on due to HIV, and this was attributed to stigma and discrimination within the society. So she actually defaulted her medication. Then in 2015, I lost my mom's sister due to HIV again. And for her case, we found the medication in her wardrobe after she passed on, implying that she wasn't taking her medication due to unknown reasons. But I just concluded that maybe she issues to do with acceptance of their status. So it actually made her not to take the medication, and she defaulted, and then she passed on. So these experiences influenced my journey into advocacy, because I realized that these issues were not being talked about. So then in 2017, when I was in Form 3 in 2017, so some community healthcare workers, they came at our school, they were doing health community sensitization, and they talked more about HIV. So then I approached them after the school health dialogue. Then I was like, I would want to be part of this. Then they offered me a volunteer position as a peer educator. But basically what really influenced me to be into this HIV advocacy journey is those hateful incidents that happened. I lost my loved ones. So it really made me want to openly speak more about HIV, to talk more about HIV. So, yeah.
Okay, and that's so sad. I'm sorry about that. And these are real conversations, these are real stories, things that are happening, the reality. And it's very important that we have these discussions. You know, I liked when you mentioned that it wasn't openly talked about back then. These were conversations where people would hardly even want to talk about. There was so much stigmatization around HIV. And what do you believe were the main drivers of stigmatization? I mean, going back to your story where your mom's sister couldn't openly say that she's HIV positive, what do you believe could be the main drivers of that stigmatization?
I think the society mostly think that if someone is HIV positive, they are promiscuous, and issues to do with labeling, saying, oh, you're already dead if you're living with HIV. So I think those are the most factors that contributed to them defaulting, because they wouldn't want to be labeled. Remember, there are women already in a society which is putting women down. So those incidences, they actually made them that way.
Okay, and I think also, you know, societal expectations have somehow killed humanity, because a lot of people have what they expect of the people that are living in the society. And then as someone who is maybe HIV positive, you're constantly thinking, and I think mental health is also another aspect that we need to bring in, because you're also constantly thinking, what does the next person think about me? And one thing that I'm very particular about is young people living with HIV. Are they really open to share their stories? Do they want to share their stories? Do you think the environment these days is conducive for them to speak out?
I think it's 50-50, because yes, nowadays, due to youth saving organizations that are rising, young people taking issues into their own hands, we now have young people living with HIV who are openly, we have managed to disclose their status. But then if we look into, if we look to some parts of the country, there's still young people who are still struggling to disclose their status due to societal stigma, due to, in fact, even self-stigma. They haven't accepted themselves with they are positively living with HIV. So it's 50-50.
50-50.
Yes, just depends with the environment, your surroundings. Are your family supportive? Are your friends supportive? Or what they think? So yeah, it's a tricky situation.
And you're an HIV advocate, and this came to my mind that I know as a young person, you're everywhere on the social media streets, especially if you're an advocate like you, and you've seen so many people come out open on social media to say they are HIV positive. Do you think that's a very good stance?
I think it's a good stance, because I have my friends who are actually doing podcasts. They're openly living with HIV, and most people are actually approaching them saying, how do I deal with this situation? Issues to do with pill burden, they encourage each other. So they're serving as a supportive environment. So I think it's actually nice just to open up, even when it comes to relationships. You know, people will know what they're getting into. So yeah.
And we also wouldn't want to take away, you know, there's always a bad side to everything. There's a lot of trolling that goes on social media, and the time that you open up about your status, something happens, sometimes people start using that against you, which is not a good thing. So I'm back to the main part of our conversation. We would want to talk about the misconceptions that young people have regarding to HIV these days. So let's have a conversation around that line and break it down to what is happening out there. You're a young person, you're in the streets, you are out there, you know what's happening. So tell us more about the misconceptions that are still prevalent out there in the streets.
All right, I think number one misconception is let's say HIV positive, there's always this misconception that I cannot date or I cannot get into a relationship with someone who is.
Would you date someone who's HIV positive?
Yes, so that misconception, I can't date someone who's HIV positive or I can't date someone who's HIV negative, of which that's not true. And acknowledging the technological advancements of the ARVs, it's still possible. You can get your mujolo, you can marry someone who's HIV positive and still give birth to HIV negative babies. So yeah, and it's so difficult for young people living with HIV to get into relationships with people who are HIV negative. Sometimes, I still remember one time I had a counseling session with one of my colleagues. She was like, I felt like he was doing a favor to me, feeling like love is a favor to them. So yeah, that's one of the misconceptions.
And I think also before we go to the next one, I think it brings on the subject of discorded couples.
Exactly.
And most of the people, they don't have the information. So I think we need to make this information available to everybody, to know that there's something called discorded couples. You can be negative, I can be positive, and we can still have like our lovey-dovey thing going on. So I asked you, would you date someone who's HIV positive? And you said yes, and you went back to explaining.
Thank you so much. I once dated someone who's HIV positive.
This is what we want on the No Podcast. Real stories, guys. Yeah.
So what actually happened, the person was courageous enough. He disclosed to me. So when I went to their place, I actually saw their ARV medication on the table. So that's how I got to know that they are HIV positive. So we then had to talk about it. We then we booked a clinic review. Then we went to the clinic. I got tested. They went through some tests to check his viral load, if it's virally suppressed. But they advise us to, if we think of having sex, we should always use protection. But then when I got tested, there was a time when I went under PrEP, the pre-exposure prophylaxis, because the person's viral load was high. But we still managed to be, to be lovey-doveys and I'm still HIV negative.
And there's always a part where we leave out correct and consistent. In terms of taking your medication, you need to take them, you be consistent, and you need to take them correctly. I had, if you're stipulated to take your medication at 7, it has to be 7, because that's also very important. So did you break up or you're still in love?
No, we actually break up.
Why? You see these people now, they're here.
Mujolo happened, but I don't regret the moment. I got to experience, I got to learn a lot, and it really, sparked that fire within me to remain in the HIV field.
Yeah, and I think we can also talk about pre-exposure prophylaxis and post-exposure prophylaxis, because I think most young people out there, they are not even aware that they can have access to such. And I think it's very important that we talk about that. And just a story, guys. I like telling stories. So there's this friend of mine in college. So we're very close friends actually. So she was having a mujolo going on in college. Then actually, Payuzet, actually in vernacular, they will call it padast. So this is where all the big guys come and chill.
Oh, the bingers.
Yes, this is where all the rich and loaded guys come, and then they get girls and then they go out. So she got a rich guy for herself, and then they ended up having unprotected sex in the midst of a heated whatever. And then I remember at some point she was saying, you know what, if I found out that I'm HIV positive, I'm actually going to take my pills and put them in a paracetamol plastic, just for people not to know that I'm HIV positive. So most of the times when I just think about why she said it, and she's someone that's very intelligent, someone that knows a lot about protection, knows a lot about pre-exposure prophylaxis, post-exposure prophylaxis. But sometimes you find out that those people that are on the forefront of advocacy, they're the same people that go out there and have unprotected sex. And then we're here on a podcast and we're talking about it. But Panashe, as soon as she leaves here, she's going back to her boyfriend's house and they're going to have So I think these are some of the things that we really need to also talk about and normalize, to say let's practice what we preach as young people. So talking about post-exposure and pre-exposure prophylaxis, do you think it has been a meaningful intervention for young people?
Yes, it has been, especially according to my experience. It's actually sparked the relationship, because I wasn't worried that my partner was gonna transmit the virus to me because I was taking my drugs. And also it helps to do with information. It helps to do with how do I put it?
You can put it in vernacular and we understand what you want to say.
Yeah. So relationships, they are saved, and you can get married, you can still date anyone you want, as long the medications are available.
Okay.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why we have you today is because I had actually statistics has proven that in Chiredzi, we have like an HIV prevalence that is very high. So do you think as young people we really understand the impact of that?
Some young people do, some they don't. And this is attributed to limited knowledge among the young people.
Don't you think young people are just ignorant?
Yeah,
I think
ignorance as well.
information is there. Yeah.
Yeah, information is there, but we are ignorant. As you were saying that, yes, I know the information that I'm supposed to use protection all the time, but I'll just choose not to do that. So it's also contributing to that alarming statistics. Then in Chiredzi, it's a border area, so most of young people, they are migrating to South Africa and looking for green pastures. So it's, the issue to do with my truck drivers, dating young girls, because that's where most border interactions are happening. And also Chiredzi is a resettlement area where sugarcane planting is being done. So those farmers, hey, they've got money. They have got money.
They are rich.
They've got money. And resettlement areas, they are not well developed compared to urban setups. So if I know which is Section A, Farm 20, there's Mpinga, and if that farmer approaches me, definitely I'd want to get married to the Mpinga, and economic conditions that are leading young people to migrate to South Africa, issues to do with truck drivers. So those are the main components that are also contributing to that higher statistics of HIV in the area.
Allow me to go off book. Do you think Great Zimbabwe University is contributing to those statistics?
No. I think...
Which university were you at?
I was with Midland State University.
Midland State University.
Yes.
Okay, so you're defending Great Zimbabwe University.
No, I'm not defending anything. As long young people are gathered together, we will do our best. We will utilize the moment. It's just a matter of young people gatherings. Even at church, those conferences, you start to hear good. So and so they did this. They will go to pastors' hearings. So I think as long young people are gathered together, something is going to happen. And this remains us as young advocates, as peer champions. We need to enhance our community sensitization.
Okay, so on the misconceptions, we talked about young people not fully aware that they can actually have a partner, they can be in a loving relationship with someone that is HIV positive, and it's still okay. So let's talk more about some of the misconceptions that you have seen.
Then I think my second misconception would be young people who are living with HIV, they've got, some of them, they've got inferiority complex. They think they're not capable to do what Panashe Batamoto is doing, of which we have seen so many young people in the field who are doing a lot, who are now CEOs, who are championing, who are sitting in those high decision-making bodies. So that inferiority complex also compromise their education, their academics, because they will just think, self-stigma, they will self-stigmatize themselves. I'm not capable to do this. This is because I'm living with HIV. This is for Panashe and other people, of which that's not true.
Yeah, and I think self-esteem is a vital component of any person, individual person. When it's crushed, it's very difficult for a person to go out there. And we also need to remember that people got HIV differently.
Exactly.
That's also very important because, you know, some of the stigma surrounding HIV, people always think that this person was promiscuous. She went there and did that. He went there and did that. But it's not the case. I remember in primary school, we were taught so many ways in which HIV could be transmitted. But I don't know why our minds have become so shallow that we always think it's about sex every time.
Yeah, those are my streets.
Okay, so do you have any other misconception that you'd want to add?
Yeah, I think when we hear that if someone is HIV positive, we often visualize someone who is always ill, of which that's not it. Can you identify that Panashe is HIV positive? You cannot. So that misconception of always thinking, good, if someone has HIV, they're supposed to have those. If they see you with red lips, or if your lips are not nice, they'll say, probably.
Beauty is judged. I used to do that a lot, but yeah.
You know, we'll be scanning HIV with our eyes, and of which we cannot see that this person is living with HIV. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions among young people. We tend to detect HIV with our eyes, and also this also reminds me, Kuti, have you noticed that most boys in the streets, they say, this one doesn't look like she's
exactly. I have, and it's like people are just
I've scanned you. You're okay. You're fine. Let's just do it. You get it. So measuring HIV with our visual eyes. So that is one of the most misconceptions among young people. So yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but guys, I don't like shallow conversations. I don't like shallow comments. Like whatever you say out of your mind, out of your mouth, puts me off if it's very shallow. Because I'm a sucker for deep conversations. For conversations that are real, that are authentic as well. And I think it all brings us. It sums to the issue of stigma. To say there's a lot of stigma that happens in the communities that we are living in. So tell us, how do you think we can make the society better for people living with HIV?
I think continuous community sensitization. Because yes, limited knowledge gap is still there. As much as you say young people are ignorant, but if the community gets to understand about, right now we're talking about pre-exposure prophylaxis, these are methods that are being taken by HIV negative people to prevent HIV. So imagine if everyone had that knowledge, what's going to happen? Stigma and discrimination will reduce in the communities. And it also makes a safer environment, and a safer environment for the people who are living with HIV. It also promotes them to live an open life, to disclose their status.
So just to hear your opinion on this matter, there's a certain point, I'm not going to mention the name of the church and the name of the pastor or prophet or apostle, whatever, but there's a certain time where people would talk about an HIV cure that was founded by some men of God. And I think religion also plays a vital and important part in terms of like issues of HIV. Can you probably briefly just talk about what you think in terms of religion pushing a false agenda on HIV medication or probably on HIV prevalence?
Wow. Religion is always part of us. And we cannot divide people with religion. And I think what needs to be done is to work with the religious sector to conscientize them more about authentic information when it comes to HIV. Right now, we do not have a cure about HIV. Let's talk with them about it so that when they preach the word of God, they'll say in Jesus' name, while at least you're taking your medication, so that we don't experience young people or young people living with HIV defaulting from their medication. So there's need of collaboration with the religious sector. Us as programmers, we really need to continuously work with them so that they are sensitized. Because Pastor Muno did not tell it. I always listen to my prophet. So if we do programs that are targeting those influential people in the community, it will really help us to do away even with that stigma and discrimination and support people living with HIV in the religious sector.
Bravo. You see, guys, she's brilliant and very intelligent, huh? All right, so Panashe, what would you be your parting words to the people that are watching, especially to the young people that probably are living with HIV, or probably young people that are showing a discriminatory attitude towards people that are living with HIV?
My parting words would be, when it comes to HIV response, everyone has got a role to play. And us as young people, according to statistics, right now young people were the ones who are, we have got the highest prevalence of HIV in the country. Even the country's population, we constitute 66%. So this tells us that we have got a role to play when it comes to our health. And we should, yes, the government is doing their part, but what are you doing? As much as we want to be ignorant, it's going to cost us. Right now, recently, we were hit by the USAID stop order, meaning to say most programs into HIV response were affected. So we really need to own up to be responsible enough and utilize the available resources. And my number 2 would be, right now, information is there, but it's us who doesn't have the zeal to look for information. We've got so many youth-led saving organizations that are providing services for us. For example, we've got My Age Zimbabwe. We've got Say What, where they're doing debates. Those are for informational purposes. We've got the National AIDS Council hosting quiz competitions. So let's just, I know Instagram is nice, following those celebrities, but if we just dedicate our time to also have interest in following those pages, youth-saving pages, that will help us with information we need. So, those are my parting. And lastly, for young people living with HIV, you can still get married to your lovely ones. You can still get that mbinga if you want, as long as you're taking care of yourself, you're adhering to your treatment. And also, when it comes to disclosing, you can always disclose to someone or assess this person I can actually disclose to them, not just disclosing to everyone, but someone who is supportive enough for you to help you walk through the journey. So those are my last words.
All right, thank you so much, Panashe, for coming through. In a nutshell, you've heard her. Do your part and I will do mine. Together we can fight HIV. So it's been a pleasure. It's always a good time when I get to hang out with you guys and we get to have these conversations. And remember, it's unfiltered, it's uncensored, and it's raw on the No Podcast. So guys, TikTok time is no longer on our side. From me, the Dynamite, and the beautiful crew behind the scenes, it's goodbye.
Bye.